Okay, so now we are going to have the town council work meeting on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. It is 7:30. And what I would like to do is to make this really quick. I've got prepared a list of what I would like to be on the town council regular meeting on Tuesday. And, there's only one ordinance. The rest of it is fairly, I think, fairly easy stuff for us to, address. But I'm gonna tell you what they are, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you did for the profile you came up with for the town manager. Okay, so next week, what we have is, there's an agreement, the sheriff wants us to renew the agreement with them, our annual meeting, agreement with them with what kind of services they provide for us. We just pull up the agreement and it's what we had before. Is the price even the same?
No, remember the sheriff did talk about the price was increasing a little bit. I believe it went up just a slight, but that's the new agreement that they've sent over, so.
Okay, so that's for our law enforcement services from the sheriff. Then, the county clerk needs us to sign off on the fact that they're gonna handle the election for us this, November, like they did last time. Arlen Brinkerhoff, we still have yet to get the thing worked out between Lenny Brinkerhoff's house and the church with that little bit of land. And, so I put that on the agenda to come back, and he has sent things over, to Heath to look at, that we're waiting for something to come back, and I figured if we put it on the agenda, we'll get an answer. So that's on there. The sign ordinance that, we just had to put together into one big ordinance, that's gonna be on there. We did talk about the org chart. You were gonna look at the org chart and you had some possible changes you might want to do on that potential org chart we were going to adopt. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. So I have that on there for whatever you want to talk about, or whatever potential.
You don't have to put it on there, did we already approve it?
No, we put it off so that you could, you wanted a chance to throw something in, so we put it off.
Okay.
Okay.
Just so on the consent agenda.
Yeah, we need to see what she has. Then I have I'm gonna work on this, this is not prepared yet. But, our code enforcement officer went to the town council meeting tonight in Rockville at 6 o'clock. They would indeed like to, use his services, and so, we need to come up with basically an interlocal agreement between Rockville and Virgin. So, and how we would bill for, how we're gonna share. So I'm going to work on that while I'm out of town, the interlocal agreement, but that will be on the agenda. We have yet to, the folks in Rio de Sion are continuing to agitate about the gate, that they want that darn gate. And, remember, we approved it over a year ago. And, but he wanted to write a memorandum of, agreement between the homeowners association and the town. And he's never given us that agreement. And so they keep calling and saying, what about the gate? What about the gate? It's like, we have to have signed agreement with the homeowners association. So I put that on there to tell Heath, get it to us.
Have Heath have one of his other attorneys dropped it.
That's what he's gonna have to do, but he had said he was gonna do it, he never has. Okay, then, we have a proposal for, the Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant Program, opened in February 1st, and it closes March 17th for us to apply for a grant. And what I would like to do is to, apply for a grant for some money to, refurbish the BMX track. And we have prepared a proposal to show to the town council, asking if we are willing to invest some money into the BMX track. And because we would have to have some matching funds. If we apply for a grant, we have to have some matching funds. So, we have, Shyla has worked with, Trevor, a guy who lives here in town that I asked to do an economic analysis of, to see whether or not it would be worth the money for us to invest in funds in the BMX track. So they have a proposal to present to us, and that's on there.
Before we get off that subject, it's my understanding that we don't have an agreement with the guy that currently. and it's probably
We don't have an agreement with them.
Yeah, that's something that we probably should discuss in the budget year. We need to get an agreement with them.
Well, this is also going to.
I know
be-
that's separate from what's coming next week, but
Yes, and that's why, we're doing this now as number one, is because the grant window closes March
we,
17th.
yeah,
But if we do this, then we have to put the money in the budget for next
Right.
fiscal year, because they won't even make a decision on who's getting a grant until toward June, and so the money would be coming to us in the next fiscal year, so that's when the development thing would take place. So we're gonna have that. And then I have, so a lot of these are simple, little simple things. They're not, they don't take a whole lot of discussion. And then I had, we approved that zone change for Michelle's property, that zone change request, subject to a development agreement. But we don't have a signed development agreement yet. And I realized when I was preparing all the ordinances and signing the ordinances so that Crystal could do the posting and finalize everything, as I looked at the zone change, I realized that even though we talked about making it conditional upon this development agreement, we did not change the words in the zone change document, the ordinance, changing it to say that this was subject to a development agreement. And we did that with the halls when we did their thing. So I have on here for us to go back and talk to Heath about what we have to do here on this zone change, because it did, even though we said in the subject, we did not change the wording on the ordinance.
yeah,
So I have that on there for us to
that's
see. that.
pretty simple to do.
It's a simple thing. So most of what I have on here
What's the
is just
Latin term we use? Non-pro tem?
none pro tunc, yes. So, these are all simple things. It's a long list, but it's simple to vote on the sheriff agreement, simple
I
to
have a
vote.
copy of the development agreement that,
Oh, yeah, we got a copy. They gave it to us at the meeting. Is it signed by everybody?
no, the
Yeah.
copy, the new copy that they redone with adding the lighting and stuff.
But it
Okay,
hasn't been.
fine, but it hasn't been signed.
No, it's been over the heat.
Okay, fine, but we're putting it on the agreement so that we can, so it's gonna be on the agenda. Okay, so everything is,
That's, the agreements on that gonna be on the agenda
I have on the agenda for us to talk about it,
to talk about.
to see what are we going to do, because we have to amend that ordinance with the language, and then where are we on the development agreement? So it's not that we're going to vote to approve the
Got
development
it,
agreement.
got it.
we're going to
Is there a lot of changes to the new one so
What
that?
the heck, Martha? How is she on here like this? What'd she do?
How is it going to get off then?
What?
Yes, last night. She's logging into our own Zoom account instead of her.
Her password user is it's over from her home.
Girl's got 10, okay, because I'm like, Monica, I'm looking at you, you're on our screen, I don't know.
Did you use a tablet? Here.
I'm talking to her, but she's not, it's frozen.
You have to, you have to remove her,
I'm just gonna,
just remove her. Click on it, right, click the third thing, and say remove.
Are there two usernames too close?
No, she had to log into our Zoom for a meeting that she did.
Oh, okay.
instead of doing her own
She
Zoom.
keeps saving that login.
Okay. All right. All of a sudden she pops up on my screen. Okay, so as I said, what, I know you guys are laughing about this, but still, it's like, why is this on my screen?
All done.
So all of this are, easy things for us to agree on. And so I see this, besides the fact that this is a long list, I see it going pretty fast. The most discussion I see might be on the sign ordinance and maybe the BMX track proposal. Everything else is pretty straightforward.
You have a lot of faith in us,
Yes.
not to
I just-
discuss the law.
Right, I just wanna know if you'll send us that, there's a lot of change in the development agreement, so we can look at it beforehand, so even though we're not making a decision, we can discuss it.
She's got it.
She's got it. I'll send it to her.
Okay, awesome.
I put this, old development agreement on SharePoint, and you just remove that one and put the new one in, okay? And so I'm gonna work on the interlocal agreement with Rockville, while I'm gone, maybe while I'm on the airplane, I'll be working on that. And,
She's putting it.
everything else is, it's, so you're right, I have a lot of faith that we can just go, yes, I agree, yes, I agree, yes, I agree, instead of saying, well, wait a minute.
I will try to restrain myself.
Let's try to restrain yourself. Thank you very much. And so the last thing I wanted to say is with the stuff that you.
There's
about the
two
town-
attachments in there, sorry, there's two attachments that she sent, one says the development agreement, and then it says lighting requirement.
Can you put it in the February report?
Okay.
Thank you.
So I looked at, so going over to the town manager, discussion of town manager, you had put a town manager profile, a rough, you said it was a rough stuff that you put together with the profile and then the letters,
Yeah,
the two different letters. Go ahead.
Yeah, we had talked about taking that League of Cities and Towns from Arizona and making our changes to it. When I started to do that, I realized that was not gonna be as simple as I thought it was gonna be. So what I did is took the liberty to get started on it and kind of narrow it down to where you have a document you can work on. And I got through the profile portion and then just going straight down from there to publications, which of course need changing, and then the two acknowledgement letters. I didn't get to the interview questions because I ran out of town and we could get to that. But I wanted to get something that we're all looking at the same thing. And I figured that we wouldn't have much time between the time I posted it and here. So I figured I'd get it up, then we can work on it
Thank
for the future. Nothing more than that. Because I know everyone will have changes to it.
And do we have the ability to go in and make notes?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on SharePoint. So,
Okay, so, I looked at your, town manager profile, which is basically the same thing as a job description. And, I just made a note that I thought it was really, really, really general. Because if I look at job descriptions for town
You've
managers
gotta
and
do it.
places, it's really detailed.
you gotta take that and then develop your job description from this.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
then, so
Needs to be different.
So then I talked with, you had suggested that maybe for, the process that when it came to, interviews and reviewing the job applications and all this, that we might involve the HR guy we had contact with. So when I talked with him yesterday about Dan, I also talked to him about the town manager position. And he said that what he'd be willing to help with is creating the job description. Help us with where to post the job opening. And he would help review the applicants and help create the list of interview questions. So he was willing to work with all of that.
Good.
So I thought I would let you know that I contacted him and that's what he had to say. Okay,
And the other thing is when you guys are reviewing this and comparing it to League of Cities, Towns, one that they did. The one thing I did like, and it still needs to be open for discussion, because I didn't like how they did it. But I like the fact that they did, was that first the town had their interview and their interview questions. But then either at the same meeting or a different meeting, then townspeople could ask the city manager candidates questions. And as us,
know that I like that.
we get to sit and observe how the town manager interacts
with the town residents.
with the town residents.
Ah. Well, we'll see what,
Take a look at what they did in that League of Cities and Towns when they did the hiring procedure on that.
okay,
And it doesn't have to be that procedure, but I think we need to have some input from the town, some way or another,
from town residents.
yes.
Well, I think.
I think I know what
process-
that's gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna have to like.
We're gonna have to work on that town process.
Yes.
And whether we come up, you know, we'd have to monitor the questions or have the questions in advance maybe. But yeah, I've seen towns where they've had questions and then they limit they limit comments in the back written and you collect the comments later on. That's another
You
option.
just don't wanna feed them to the wolves if they're just doing review. That's my problem is our love our people, because they're very passionate.
Yes.
And that, I just don't wanna feed them to the wolves right away. I love public comment and the passion, but that's a fear.
They can make some candidates think, I don't wanna work here, listen to these people.
No, well, they're just, some are more aggressive than others, that's all. They're wonderful, but some are more aggressive than others. And he needs to be prepped for that, he or she.
He or she.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to talk about in our report. Okay? So I'll make you guys ready to adjourn, okay?
We don't need a motion, right? We can just.
She made a motion, I did.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned. That's the shortest town council meeting we've ever had.
Not really, when you.
Well,
Sorry,
town
council, yeah.
Sorry,
At
4 o'clock and you have.